Hi everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the Mic Drop on location on the DL in the great county of Elkhart. I am here, as you are probably aware, to fulfill a promise that I have made to children that at the time were very young teenagers, that if they were able to overcome some of the most horrendous stuff, that I would be there present at graduation yelling obnoxiously for their success if no one else would. And of the 100 or so that I probably would have had this year, I can a half dozen to a dozen easily. So here I am, and everybody seems to be afraid that I'm here. Like, people are looking around like, oh, Malahan's here, and it's not the kids, and it's not even the parents, and it's not the teachers. But I just hear that there's a lot of fear. And so, I mean, I'm kind of rolling with it. You know, everybody's entitled to their own truth. I'm not one to deny anybody else's truth, so I've been kind of rolling with it. And because somebody else felt uncomfortable about my presence there, multiple somebodies, they threatened to not come to work on graduation. And so I was told that I'm banned from graduation so that I could not actually attend. Regardless of that, this is why I'm actually reaching out to you guys today. Here's the plan. You know how I was placed on a trespass for the property of Middlebury Community Schools. I was told by the chief of police of Middlebury Community Schools if I stepped foot on the property, I would be arrested on site for trespassing. And I told you in my last video that I fully intend to fulfill my promise without breaking any laws, without trespassing on Northridge property, and without causing a disruption or anything so egregious that would take away from the ceremony that it would cause anybody to really, really be upset. Because here's what's going to happen. At 1:30 p.m. today, I will be at Bonneville Mill, and I am inviting every single one of you people out to join me. That's right, Malahan Sergeant Pepper is throwing his first ever Northridge graduation ceremony watch party in a public venue. And I'm going to go and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen when I'm there. At 1:30, I know that it will be well into the ceremony. It'll be start approaching the time when my names of my kids would probably come up. So I'm going to be watching the live stream from my car at Bonneville, and every time one of my kids walks across the stage, I'm going to cheer loudly for them. Now, some people have questioned how loud I can actually be. In fact, I believe it was Mr. Wood directly who at some point just looked at me in confusion and said, I'm not sure how a human can produce that much volume. So, I did some thinking, and I put on my analytical brain because I figured out what they were actually doing was trying to scare me away out of fear, not that they're actually afraid that anything's going to happen while they're there. They're actually afraid of my truth more than I will be a disruption to the graduation ceremony. And they should be, because I have no plans to disrupt the graduation ceremony at all. In fact, I'm going to do something that is so normal and so common to what has been Northridge graduation for the last 8 years that I doubt many people are going to notice much of a difference at all. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. For those of you that, and I got to just say this right now, I have been an outcry of love and support, and just it went from dozens of stories in one night to hundreds and hundreds of views on my experience going through and it's growing, and I'm hearing from people that I've never talked to in my life that have reached out and said, there are times where I just was having a real crappy day and you were acting like a complete goofball, and for some reason it helped me get through the day. And there's like dozens of these kids that are reaching out and saying this. There's dozens of kids that are reaching out to me with stories that are Like, Malahan, if you remember me, then you would remember this, this, and this. I remember every single one of them. And I will respond to every single one of them personally. Every single one of you that has reached out to me to show support, to show solidarity, I even heard there was a hashtag movement that started and maybe a t-shirt. I don't know what everybody decided to do when I said to do you, but I can't be more excited right now. Everything that I'm hearing is just a positive outcry of wanting to support me. And I only have one goal, and that's to make sure that I can cheer for the kids. And I found a way to do this. I believe it's the mic drop, so it's the mic truth. I found a way, I believe, that without causing abnormal disruption to the ceremony, or anything that would put anybody in danger, or actually anything at all that would be considered weird for the event. I'll be completely honest. Because here's what's going to happen. For those of you that have decided that I want to help, and I'm going to stand with Malahan, I believe is what I was told the hashtag or something is, you have to understand two very, very, very important things. There is one goal, and it has nothing to do with the politics of Northridge High School. I am here to fulfill a promise to children that I made. That's what I'm going to do. If you're going to stand with Malahan, you should not be doing anything else other than something that should achieve that goal. And if that is awareness, the way you guys have been lighting up stuff all over social media, thank you. Go for it. Some of you are wizards and sorceresses about that stuff, and I'm in awe of what you guys are able to do. And I'm so, like, I'm just telling you right now, I haven't even seen everything. Like, there's so much coming onto me right now to like pour out and help that there's just one common theme that it comes down to is after a story, they wanted to say that they support and they stand, kind of with me, but they also say too, is there anything I can do to help? Which is definitely a Malahan thing to ask. So it's not like I can't say, no, thank you, I appreciate you, but all this stuff too, because people are genuinely trying to help. And I would be a hypocrite if I came on here talking about my truth and denying someone else's ability to try to help me from their heart. That's not for me to stop. If someone tries to bless you with their life in whatever way possible, don't say no. It's just, it's a mic drop moment. I mean, this is just my opinion on this. It's my feelings. Don't say no. You don't ever want to prevent the joy that someone else can get by helping you or serving you. Because that joy, I can tell you as a counselor for 10 years, the joy that you get from helping those people is more than worth its weight in gold. It's worth its weight in diamonds and platinums and bitcoins and stuff. So, all of that. What I would like to ask you guys to do, there's three parties involved that I'm going to address this to. The first, for those of you that are going to join me at Bonneville Mill at 1:30, I would ask that you bring yourself, your car, your voice, and your brain. I know that last one kind of seems a little bit redundant, but the reason I'm saying that is, and I want to make this very, very, very clear for anyone that could possibly misinterpret it. If you come to Bonneville Mill and you have other plans other than rooting for the children as they walk across the stage during a live Facebook showing, do not show up and say that you're there for Malahan. Now, it's a public property. You can show up for whatever you want. You can show up and say, I hate this whole thing, and march with pickets in the middle of it and try to block all the views. It's a public place. Go for it. You know what? I'd probably like walk with you as you're like trying to interrupt what it is that we're doing, just to talk with you and be like, hey, what's up? Like, did something happen? Can I help you? Are you cool? Can I get you a sandwich? It's hot outside. You need water. Like, just because I don't care about anybody else being able to share their truth unless someone wants to stop it for some reason. And that's what has happened to me a lot in Northridge High School and Middlebury Community Schools in general. So that's what's unstoppable now. The people at Bonneville, I will be there at 1:30. I would like you to be with me at 1:30. And what I would like to do is when a child walks across the stage, after their name is read, I'd like you to do something with me. I'll tell you what that is in a second. Parents, teachers, graduates, anyone that is actually going to attend the ceremony itself that has asked me, how can I help? I want to help. How can we help you fight this? Don't help me fight anything right now. It's okay. There's no fight to have. You guys won. The graduates today walking across the stage, they're the winners today. They're the ones that need to be cheered for. They're the ones that need to hear, congratulations, you worked your beep off and you made it. And get a high five or a hand hug or somebody to just do a whoop for you. It's school spirit. And school spirit is a job for everyone, not just counselors, not just coaches, not just cheer blocks. We come from a legacy of Jane Allen, there's been no bigger fan of children and their sports than I've seen in my life than Jane Allen. Somebody once asked me if I ever grew up, who would I want to be? And I said, Jane Allen. Because every time she was there, she was rooting for the kids, and she smiled. It was not out of obligation, it was out of privilege that she was able to be there, even in the highest capacity of the school, sitting right next to everybody else on the floor, cheering their minds out. Superintendent, 5th grade basketball girls, a high school counselor. And we all have the same mentality of cheering on our high school basketball girls. So if I could grow up, that's who I would hope to be. Those of you at the ceremony, based on my experience of what's happened in the past, there's going to be a time where those that are at the podium are going to address you directly right before the reading of the names. And they're going to ask you to do something politely. And usually some variation of this is how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the procession of names for diplomas. We would like to ask that you politely hold your applause to the end. Thank you. And that's what they'll ask you. And it's a polite ask, and it's definitely in the right place for keeping a ceremony prestigious and keeping for a ceremony to, be what it is actually designed for, a strong, recognition in a positive, professional, and amazing way for what these kids have done. They'll ask you to sit quietly. I have not asked anyone to do anything yet for me in what I'm trying to do to accomplish this goal until now, because so many people are asking me, how can I help? So I felt an obligation to find a way to do so in a way that I believe would still convey to the children that I'm there and I'm supporting you and you can hear me, and also not change or degrade the sanctity of the ceremony itself. So here's my plan. Instead of staying silent completely after they read each name, I would like to ask you instead to clap one time. Just once. And the reason why I'm going to ask you to do that, and why I don't think it is something that's going to be disruptive to the ceremony, is because while the people on the stage ask that politely, every single time a student walks across the stage, their family, their cheer corner, whoever they are, wherever they are in the stands, they holler their minds out because of how proud they are of their kids. So if the administration can handle reading a name and then hearing an uproarious woo or clapping anyway, because people want to clap for their children when they hear their name read, I know, shocker, I'm going to ask you to clap once. So it'll say something like this. And now we'll start the processional. A. Aronson. B. Aronson. You get my meaning. If you would choose to do that, here's the message from Malahan that you will be sending through those vibrations in the air to the kid that would hear it. Since I'm not allowed to be there on the premises or I'm going to get arrested, I'm going to have volume sent in your direction so you can hear me anyway. And I'm going to thank Mr. Nate Wiki for this one because he taught me everything I knew about physics. And here's something really cool. Let's say this is Middlebury Community Schools, all right? And this is the property that I cannot walk on no matter what. If I go anywhere on this, I'm going to get arrested, okay? Now, normally, if I were to go to graduation, I would probably sit somewhere in the green button. You know, here's like, you know, all the stands and all the people, and then here's like the back row and teachers, and then like here's all the kids all the way going forward, right? So, if I were to be at that green dot, which is kind of hard to do upside down, if I were to go to the green dot and produce as much volume as I can, then the kids that are in front of me would probably hear me and know that I'm there to support them. Well, since Middlebury Community Schools is taking my green dot and throwing it all the way out here, all I have to do is increase my volume so that my kids can hear me and I'm not breaking the law. So, to that regard, that's why I'm going to Bonnieville Mill, and that's why I'm inviting you guys with me to show the kids that we are actually there to support them. If you were to clap while you're inside, anyone at all, this is the only message that it will convey from Malahan to that person after you've clapped. It will not mean anything else unless someone else tries to tell you it means something else. But it doesn't. This is the Malahan truth. If you clap once, it tells that child. Malahan says congratulations, and he's proud of you. That's all. That's the only thing that I would ask you to do to help me. And it will have one of the most profound effects on the kids when they hear. Can you imagine a child right now that I know an actual child that fits this description who's graduating, who is going to the ceremony, has no one at all that ever believed in them to graduate high school. And yes, that includes their school counselors. And they didn't have any reason to try to fight to be successful in school. They didn't believe in any of the things that people were saying of why it was important. And they fought through it anyway because they wanted to. Because they wanted to prove something to themselves, because they wanted to accomplish something, because they wanted to show the people that told them that they couldn't, that they could. And those are my people. And I will be beeped if I'm going to be held back from genuinely showing love and unconditional positive regard through sound in their direction to show them that I'm proud of them. And congratulations. If you feel the need to do this, I promise you, this is all that I'm going to ask. I don't want anything else, and it accomplishes the goal. All of this is already going to happen anyway. Families are going to woo for their child's names even after the administration asks them to be quiet. I'm not asking you to woo. I'm not even asking you to slow down any part of the processional or do anything that is super disruptive. I'm just asking for one clap. School spirit starts with one clap, by the way. Or if you're loud in the voice, sometimes it starts with a woo. That's what I would like to ask you to do if you are in the ceremony itself and have tickets and want to support me in my fight to show that these kids are worth it and they deserve to be cheered for. That is what I'm going to ask you to do. Okay? Myself, I'm going to be at Bonnieville with as many people as I possibly can. And I'm hoping that every single time that a name is read, there is enough people around me that can produce enough of a woo that they're able to hear it at Northridge. And you know what? Yeah, that's kind of me saying, like, Mike, you're pretty much saying that you're intentionally going to try to cause a noise complaint violation. Fair. That is absolutely fair. I will respond by saying this. There is no intent in my heart whatsoever to do anything illegal or unethical whatsoever to get to a point where I can show my kids that they are hearing me love and support them. So I hear you. There are times in this world where things don't make sense. And things don't quite follow the pattern or the cookie cutter way of doing things. It's not the norm, as they would say. It's extraneous. It's weird. It's unique. Similar. Same. I don't want to cause a disruption. I want my kids to be loved on when I can't be there because of some unjust trespassing thing that was slapped on me so that 6 people could feel comfortable doing their jobs at graduation today. So when you clap inside after a person walks across that stage, and I celebrate briefly in an exuberant, noisy way after a child walks across that stage and graduates, and there are people around me who do it, that's it. That's all. So all of you guys that have been afraid of what I'm going to do, of what I'm going to show up, if we're going to link arms and throw handcuffs on and walk across that stage in solidarity and say, this is unfair and this is unjust and we demand justice. Any other time I'd probably be open to that idea, but not today. Today's about the kids. It's the only reason I'm here. I can't believe all of this around this had to happen at the same time, because all I wanted to do was have a graduation ticket, sit in the stands and whoop for my kids. But now here we are. We're here because of what Middlebury Community Schools chose to do, I feel, unjustly against me. And from what I'm reading online and the support that I'm getting from a lot of the people out there, I'm not the only one. Former graduates, current graduates, parents, everybody's reaching out to me with their truths. And I'm feeling almost inclined to share them because they want me to, from a place of anonymity, obviously. Like, this was my experience there. Fine, I will share your truth. If you do not feel comfortable sharing the truth of your experience while you were attending Middlebury Community Schools and you need someone to be a voice for you, I will offer to voice your truth for you. That does not mean I agree with it. That doesn't mean I don't agree with it. That doesn't mean anything more than you have permission to put Mike Mullahan in front of you and use him as a, one of those cheery megaphony things. I can do that. I was blessed with a very loudness. And if that's something I can do to help people, then we will. So there you go. That's the plan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to cheer for the kids and make them feel loved in the ways that Middlebury Community Schools are forcing me to do, since they just didn't want to let me go in with a graduation ticket. So I'm going to ask, if you want to support me, if you want to support the kids that I'm here to support and root for, do this. 1 clap inside, 1 joyful noise on the outside, and from within and without, every single child there should feel loved. And that people support them. And they're not alone. They're never alone. If you are Middlebury Community Schools, y'all need to step up on the community part. And I'm not the only one saying that. These kids deserve better than what it is that you're allowing to happen in your schools. That's not for today, but it sure as well could be for tomorrow. Obviously, tomorrow's Monday, so, because the time I'm recording this, yada, 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 that's why it makes sense, so on and so forth. After the ceremony is over, I invite publicly anyone and everyone that would like to talk publicly, openly, with me. I'll be at Bonneville until I can't be at Bonneville. answering questions, hearing stories, sharing truths. It's going to be one big giant after party. And it's going to be a Malahan after party. And most of y'all know what that means. That means it's going to be the most wholesome, loud fun you could probably imagine. One of my... I've been trying so hard not to cry this whole video. One of the moms of the, just one of the moms of the community that had been involved with basketball. There was a year that the girls' team was doing so well. They were on fire, and they made it all the way to like semi-state, and God, everybody was cheering so hard, and we wanted so hard. And I when it comes to positive energy and giving it and sharing it amongst children, I don't get embarrassed, and I don't really care necessarily a lot of the time what happens to me. So in this particular instance, a mom reached out to me and reminded me and showed me the videos of the time when we were at the game before semi-state, and the opposing girls basketball team was up in the stands, and they were dancing to the music that the guy was playing, and I was on the ground with the kids at the cheer block because that's always where the kids would put me. Like if I had to be anywhere, it was like, Malahan, here, we need you loud. Oh, sure, dude. All right, cheer block, I'm there. I stood up during the music and I started dancing off against the other opposing girls basketball team. And now you're thinking, that seems a little strange. That seems a little odd. Well, it was odd until I believe I don't remember the ages of all of them. They were so young, but I want to say somewhere between maybe 3rd and 5th grade basketball girls stood up with me and started doing, I think it was either the Macarena. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Macarena. And she sent me a video of this, and I lost it. I poured my eyes, and man, I thought ran out of tears because she said, I can't believe that they would say that this man who is dancing next to these small children is in any way, shape, or form a potential danger to any child ever in existence. And it hit me so hard because it came out of the blue. Like, hey, you don't know me, but. If I had a nickel right now for every, hey, you don't know me, buts, I'd have a lot of nickels. So, in conclusion, the mission today, if you were to stand with Malahan, is to cheer, love, and support the graduates of Northridge High School today because they are the all-stars. And if they won't let me close enough for my kids to hear me, like I promised that I would do, then I will yell louder from wherever I can go. And they'll still hear me. So join me. I'd love to have you. I'd like to see you at 1:30. Those on the inside, if you don't clap, I love you nonetheless. I love you, period. You do you. Parents, teachers, the people on the stage themselves, if they want to clap. I do not care as long as you're being true to yourself. That's all I would ask. So today, let's make it about the graduates. Let's cheer as loudly as we possibly can without trying to cause a noise violation. And let's make sure that every single one of those kids know that no matter what anybody does, and no matter what anybody would try to prevent, there will always be people in your corner. And there are people that will fight through unjust things to make sure that you know that you're loved and you're supported and that you matter. And you matter. I'm Mike Malahan, Sergeant Pepper. This has been the Mic Drop. And I hope to see you today at Bonneville at 1:30. Love.